Welcome in, everybody, to Fantasy Pros MLB. This is our live stream. It is me, Joey P, Joe Pisapia. With me is Joe Orrico. The Welsh is still on the injured list. We are hoping to get him back tomorrow. In the meantime, Joe Orrico doing double duty everywhere. Shout out to Joe Orrico. It's a new show today because you heard of Between Two Ferns. Now it's Between Two Joes. And what's between us? Your questions. Drop them below. We want to hear from you. And remember, super chats are enabled. So if you desperately have to get your question answered and you want it to be answered here today, you can super chat it and we will get to it as fast as we possibly can. So those will guarantee, and especially in the first 15 minutes. After that, all bets are off, but we're going to get to as many as we can today. Joe Orrico, it's great to see you. I love spending time with you. And I got to say, Joe Orrico, are you excited for Fantasy Fest? Because that's coming up next week, buddy.
I am beyond excited. We put our players into the sheet yesterday. We're getting all these nice graphics done up. We got a very nice Joey P commercial that's going to be coming up that you guys are going to enjoy.
It's pretty good.
It's pretty excellent. I got to be honest. Hat tip to our producers there on the video side. But I am so excited. I'm going to do one segment with you, and then I'm going to be doing one with Welsh, who's hopefully on the mend by that point, and Lance Brozdowski talking pitching.
Yeah.
I updated all my rankings yesterday. We got the results from last year's ranking contest today. There's a lot going on. I can't wait for baseball to start, though. This is the best time of year.
Yeah, I finished in the 30s, not where I want to be, but I'm close to Steve Gardner, my hero. So, I mean, if you're going to end up that's good company. If you're going to say I'm as good as Steve Gardner, that would be false, but it would still be a compliment nonetheless. You can see I got a different setup today. You know, my TV just crapped out on me. So hopefully by Fantasy Fest, I got the new one set up with the new logos. And speaking of Fantasy Fest, it's coming at you soon. So Fantasy Fest next week. That's right. It's going to be live here on our channel. Don't miss it. Join us live because it's about as much fun as you could possibly have. 3 p.m. Eastern next Wednesday, March 12th. 4 hours of live stream fantasy baseball, bus breakouts, bold predictions. Welsh might take his shirt off. I don't know what's going to happen. Mike Mayer's going to be there. The Worm's going to be there. Joe Orrico's going to be there. Chris Towers, Frank Stample, Eric Cross, Pianowski, Lance Brozdowski. So many people are going to be there. You should be there as well. Of course, if you miss it, it'll still be on our YouTube channel. But we want you to be there live, interact with us, hang out with us. So subscribe to the Fantasy Bros MLB channel. Ring the bell till it goes ding so you do not miss a moment of Fantasy Fest. And of course, make sure you join us live here on the stream for those couple hours, even 10 minutes, whatever it is. We're here for you, taking your questions and, of course, getting you ready for all of your fantasy baseball drafts. Let's get to the questions here. Big Dan's friend of the show here with us. Who wins this trade? Team A gets Bregman and Wheeler. Team B gets Lindor and deGrom. Ooh, this is interesting here. I think the best player in the deal is Lindor. I want the best player in the deal. I'm going to take B, even though deGrom scares the absolute you-know-what out of me. Joe Orrico, what do you think?
Yeah, it's Team B for me. I am probably the high man in the industry on deGrom, or definitely among them. But I think that even if you want to say deGrom and Wheeler are roughly equal, which I think they're relatively close, I think, in terms of value for this season, Lindor is so much better than Bregman. That's the easy side for me here. And I know that you have no problem taking the Lindor deGrom side.
Well, I have problems with the Lindor side. I really like Wheeler. So it's a fair trade in that sense, but especially I always favor the position players, pitchers, God knows, and Wheeler's done a great job of staying healthy. So if you're desperate for pitching, it's a good deal. Bregman's still okay. But again, he's just okay. Lindor is great. Lindor is a first round talent. By the way, Fred Dinger, hilarious. He wants to know, is that a young Welsh behind me right here on the Black Book? It's not a young Welsh. It's a nondescript player that I don't have to use rights for, which is the best kind because I don't have to pay anybody. But keep an eye out for the young Welsh new sitcom coming to Fox and leaving Fox sometime this fall, probably a week after. Let's get to Mike George. I need help/advice. I'm in ESPN Points League and trying to decide who my keepers will be. So you got keepers, drop them in here. We'll help you. These are my choices. With the round there being in Shota in the 11th, Wilson Contreras in the 22nd, Ketel Marte in the 10th. Ooh, intriguing. Marte in the 10th is my favorite. What's yours, Joey?
Yeah, it's Marte. I'm not a big Marte fan this year, but that's mostly because of his price in the second, third round. Getting him as a 10th round keeper, I think is a great pick. Now, Wilson Contreras is also really interesting, moving to first base if you're going to have, and you will have catcher eligibility for him this year. So that's also kind of a sneaky one, but I think Ketel is probably the best value on the board.
Yeah, definitely feels like Ketel Marte for me as well. So we will continue on with the next question here. Let's pull it up here and let's get to Coconut Head. Love this. Love this. Coconut Head. I was wondering who a good SP/RP could be this year. Mace Miller, Gaddis, Walker from last year, RPs that you can play in the SP spots. Well, just yesterday we did a mock draft and Bowden Francis was a guy that was still eligible in some RP situations there. Again, you got to check your league's eligibility requirements here. But Clay Holmes is the one that really pops up for me. I really like what he's doing this spring. I never thought I'd say these words, but when the Mets now go and sign a reclamation pitcher, I get excited because I saw what Manaea was. I saw what Severino was, even Quintana to a certain degree. So I'm very excited about what the Mets might be able to do with Clay Holmes. So far, it looks like good things are happening. So is there an RP SP guy where you want to kind of game the system a little bit? Joe, do you think is standing out to you? But Holmes is one for me. Who's one for you?
Yeah, Holmes is one of the big ones. Bowden Francis, I think, is more of a fade than a target for me. I think I think he got very lucky last season, but he's also somebody who fits into that mold. Nick Martinez in Cincinnati is probably the most interesting, especially considering the cost. Nick Martinez is way down in draft rooms. He was somebody that was really, really solid last year. You might want to be careful about starting him in Cincinnati, but I think that he is a solid value where you can slot him into that relief pitcher spot, especially in a points league.
All right, next up here, we've got Snowburn BC. I'm in a 12-team slow draft where deGrom has fallen to the 10th round. I already have Scoobo, Shota, and Glasnow. Is 10th round too good a value to pass on? Yeah, I think so. I think 10th round is where I'm pulling that trigger, and I'm a little afraid of deGrom. So I know Joe Orrico's answer is probably a big Stone Cold Steve Austin. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, absolutely. I think he's probably a 3rd or 4th round pick this season based on the value. And if potentially even maybe you could push him up higher than that. We'll see what happens in spring training. But the 10th round, I don't know how he fell that far. That's absurd.
All right, let's get to super chats here because we got some. Thunder Stud is back. Hey guys, I need Puppet Welsh's opinion on DJ Herz and Kyle Harrison 16 team head-to-head points. Now I can give you the DJ one. You want to give the Kyle Harrison one, Joe? Want to split up the Puppet Welsh?
Sure, you give the Herz breakdown. Okay.
Hi, I'm the Welsh, and I was kind of sick the other. Well, hold on a second. That's me, Welsh, Puppet Welsh with the flu for the last couple days. I like DJ Herz, lefty, power pitcher, big time strikeout potential. I'm all in this year, and I think he cracks that rotation because the back end of it looks kind of like my toilet right now after being sick for the last 48 hours. How about your Puppet Welsh imitation here? What do you have?
I don't know if I can do that justice. That was pretty fantastic.
See, I don't have the actual puppet. Like I have Lil Derek. Like this is Lil Derek from the football show because he looks just like Derek Brown and his tummy's shiny, just like Derek Brown. But you don't have to put on an act. Kyle Harrison, what are your thoughts on him? 16-team head-to-head points. Hertz is definitely a guy that I want to have in the back of my, bench rotation kind of spot because I think it's only a matter of time for him. What about Harrison?
Yeah, I'm taking Hertz. Harrison is one of those guys where I've had him, especially last year, in a lot of deeper league rosters. And the problem with him is that he just doesn't help you a lot. Like unless he really, really improves on what he was doing last year. The strikeout rate wasn't good. The whip was 134. He had a 4.56 ERA. And if you look at a lot of those ERA estimators, the one that I trust the most is usually Sierra. It was a little bit better at 4.18, but still not somebody that's necessarily going to be helping you. He allows a lot of hard contact. There are a lot of concerns with Harrison. We've talked on a lot of shows about DJ Hertz. The strikeout rate is really good. He needs to maintain the command. He showed a sub 10% walk rate in the majors last year. If he's able to carry that over in even the 9-10% range, I think that he is easily the answer here.
Joey Navarro here, also a friend of the show, going into this year's drafts with zero miedo. Very good. No fear. Actually, Seth, our incredible producer, and I were talking about the John Cena heel turn from this weekend. It's good stuff. Hope you saw it. I'm here for it. Paragon is up next. Kind of punted hitting, but not bad. Ramirez round 1. Pitching is crazy. Skeens, Gilbert, Crochet, Schwellenbach, McClanahan. Holy crap. Alcantara, Strider, Bubba plus Class A and RP. Thoughts? I think you've got enough pitching that you could move somebody for bats at some point. Somebody's going to get desperate. And here's what I would do when you have, this is a good example of what Paragon did here of, I think, letting the draft come to you and taking the best players you can and loading up on talent. Now, I don't know what the rest of the offense looks like, but you've got Skeens, you got Gilbert, you got Crochet. If Alcantara and McClanahan end up returning to form this year, you can either trade one of them if you're worried about what they look like in the second half, or if Crochet is gangbusters, you could sell him for a bunch of offense and not worry about what he looks like in the second half. So to me, this is about getting off to a good start. It's a great pitching staff for Paragon here. Joe, what do you think about that? Is that your path for flipping over into offense at some point, or do you want to just trade a Paul Skeens at some point?
I think that you've leaned a little bit too much into the risk here, and I would probably try and pull off a trade before the season just based on percentages. 2 or 3 of these guys are probably going to get hurt or not return their value. Skeens throws as hard as he does. That's always a risk. Crochet with the big innings jump. Schwellenbach, we're putting a lot of stock into a small sample. I am as well, but he's still a bit of a risk. McClanahan, Alcantara coming off of injury. Strider, we don't know when he's going to be back necessarily and what he's going to look like.
That's another one, though, Joe. I mean, what you could do here, Paragon, is take Strider and deal him sooner than later, because these guys are always at their peak value on the, he's starting his way back on return, but you don't know. He might not get him till July, end of July, maybe August. Yeah. So he might be more theoretically valuable than actually valuable. So Strider also would be probably a really good one, Joe. I'm glad you hit on that one. Let's go to another Joe. It's all the Joes today. We're going to get to another one. Let's go to Matt here. Joey P, love all your shows. Can't wait for leading off to start up. Thank you, Matt. Very good. We're excited about leading off also, so those of you know. So we're going to do things a little differently with leading off this year. So I want everybody to be prepared, so don't feel like we pulled the rug out from them. So leading off is going to be live on Twitch this year. It's still going to be on the channel on YouTube, but not live necessarily. You can watch it back on the YouTube channel, which is fine. But if you want to talk trash to us, interact with us, hang out with us, it's going to be noon on Twitch. So go to Fantasy Pros for Twitch. Look on the Twitch there. Join Twitch if you haven't already. And we're going to be doing some stuff. Actually, this Friday, Joe Orrico and I are doing a live show on Twitch too. So go ahead and be part of that. So leading off's going to be there. We're joining the Twitch family. That's what we're doing. Good Joe. Not like us. We're the bad Joes. What kind of offense and pitching outcomes can we expect the Oakland home ballpark? Homers or pitcher friendly? How does this ballpark play from what the nerds have told you, Joe Orrico?
So what the fellow nerds have been talking about, and I actually there's a video that went up a couple days ago, or maybe it went up yesterday morning on the Fantasy Pros YouTube channel, where I was talking about players I really like to target this year. One of them is Brent Rooker, and I kind of went into this a little bit. So it's an upgrade. The main point is that it's an upgrade. The Oakland Coliseum is one of the more pitcher-friendly parks in all of baseball. What I have heard about the park in Sacramento is that it is not one of the more pitcher-friendly parks that is in the PCL. But the PCL as a whole is much more hitter-friendly than what you're going to see in Major League Baseball. So it's different ends of the spectrum. It's not a terribly hitter-friendly ballpark compared to the other PCL parks, but it's still going to be an upgrade over what the Oakland batters have had to deal with for a long time now in Oakland.
Yeah, I love that Oakland offense. Also, the other reason it's not as pitcher-friendly is you have to understand too, for those of you who don't realize it, Oakland had a ton of foul territory.
Yeah.
So you would get so many outs just on pop-ups where you wouldn't get the Fenway Park foul territory versus Oakland foul territory night and day, which is, again, something I think is kind of weird when you consider everything is 90 feet, everything like that, but every single outfield is different. Every single foul territory is different. Oakland had so much of it. It was such an advantage for those pitchers. Let's go to Matt's question here. 10-team salary cap league. I can keep 3. Who are you going with? Santander at 13, Teoscar at 7, Hunter Green at 11, Sal Perez at 11, Blake Snell at 15, McClanahan at 6. Also, let's go Mets. That's right. Look, I got my MOVA globe still here too. Look, it's still rotating. It's using the light to rotate. Ooh. Look at this. One of our sponsors last year. Look at that. Mets. There you go. I wish I could put Juan Soto in this and have him rotate around. So Blake Snell for me at 15 is a lock. That's where I'm at to start. Are you in or out on that?
No, that's a solid price on Snell. I think that he is maybe the safest member of the Dodgers rotation this year. There's a lot of risks
100%.
with a ton of them. I think he's this, not to say that Blake Snell has had this breezy history of never getting hurt or anything, because there was the narrative that he had never reached 180 innings, but he's been healthy the last couple of seasons. And compared to a lot of the other names there, Yamamoto, Sasaki, Kershaw, I mean, there's tons of risk all over the place. So I think Snell is very safe. That could, I'm not going to project 20 wins, but he could easily win 20 games.
All right, so Snell is one. You got two more here. Santander is very good price. I don't. Do you feel weird keeping McClanahan? And I mean, I kind of almost want to go the pitchers here. McClanahan, Green, and Snell. I mean, those are three really cost-effective pitchers, and then just throw all the money at offense.
Green is interesting at 11. I think I would probably go Teoscar at 7 over Green at 11.
That's fair.
I think Teoscar is such a bargain. Like, he's going a lot of the time in the 50s or 60s. The numbers are still very good. He's going to be batting right behind a stupid trio in Los Angeles there, where he could easily drive in 120 runs, hit 30 homers. He was great last year. He's chips in some steals. For me personally, it would be Teoscar, McClanahan, and Snell. But I understand.
I'm good with that.
Take Green.
I'm good with that. I think, Matt, you should also look and see who else is projected to be out there too, because if you think there's going to be some big cost hitters out there, then finding the cheapest, Snell, and then even maybe Teoscar, McClanahan's interesting. Why? Just to free up more money. Because, if you're going to see a lot of big money guys back on the market, the league better than us, you're going to need that money to spend on those big impact bats. Bizarrizza Jizza for another program. Joe's finally recovered from the Cena heel turn. Yes, I did. Now, you're in Toronto. Was it all a buzz for the John Cena heel turn in Elimination Chamber?
I'm not in that zone. I know that you're not going to want to hear this. I'm not a big wrestling guy, so I wasn't really paying attention to it, to be honest.
It's okay. Fenway, I've never been more disappointed in you. Fenway cheap seats. What do we make of Roki Sasaki's splitter? I know he's overvalued, but damn, look, he's very talented. And he's a lot bigger than some of these other Japanese pitchers who have come over too, in terms of size. Like, he's going to grow into that frame even more, but he's taller. That's the thing you don't get, the Yamamoto does not have the same build as Roki Sasaki. I'm concerned with the innings. I'm concerned with the durability once he comes to the major leagues, but I think the problem is he hit on it there. He's a little expensive right now. Do you find yourself going for Roki in any of drafts?
Yeah, I've taken him a couple times. I think that he's a little expensive, but it's not crazy. His ADP, looking at on the NFBC the last couple of weeks, it's 106. That's not crazy. I think if he was going in like the 50s or 60s, which is kind of where I expected him to be going. I expected him to be the hype train to be off the charts with him. I can get behind taking him after pick 100. I think yesterday might shoot him up a little bit farther than where I want.
Oh, he's at 96 today. So
96. So is that Fantasy Pros or is that
NFBC Fantasy Pros?
Okay.
So here's my argument against him. I like Grayson Rodriguez more. I like Zach Gallen more. I like Hunter Brown more. I'm intrigued by McClanahan, obviously, more, and then even Justin Steele more. So, like, those are all guys. He is very close to Carlos Rodon for me, because Carlos Rodon also risky, also good team. But Rodon, look, last year he got it done. So I'm even more apt to take him. But to me, that Roki should be going more like as, I would say, the 40-something pitcher off the board instead of the 30-something pitcher off the board. I think that's the disconnect that I'm having right now. So that's the answer to that question here. Let's go to who's up next here. Avery. I took Tovar late, but I'm eyeing Xavier Edwards to replace him because of more stolen bases, lower strikeout numbers, and good projections. Thoughts?
It depends a little bit on your format. I think if it's roto head-to-head points, if you could maybe clarify there for us, Avery. But I think for the most part, I'm fading Tovar. I think the swing and miss is a little too extreme for me. He doesn't actually run a ton. He stole only 6 bases last year. The offense around him is a little bit bad. But then on the other hand, Xavier Edwards, I think he's in a roto sense a little bit overvalued because he doesn't provide any power. The runs and RBIs are probably not going to be amazing, specifically the RBI. But in a points league, I think that he could be really valuable because of some of the things you're saying. Lower strikeout numbers, the projections are very good. So I think in a points league, it's Edwards. I think in most formats, I'm taking Edwards, but I'd be more willing to take Tovar in a category or a roto league.
Here's a fun one, too. This is from Fenway Cheap Seats. Young Welsh equals John Lackey in his prime. Yes. Now, here's the other one, too, that nobody ever talks about enough. I was texting with Welsh earlier to see how he feels because he's my friend in real life. So here's one of the best here. So, you have like those pictures in your phone of like the this is my friend Joe Orrico, and there's a picture, whatever it is. So this is Welsh's because it looks a lot like Welsh, but it's Rico Bronya as a Diamondback. And if that doesn't look a little like Welsh, I don't know. I mean, I just see Welsh there. Just saying. My Scott Bogman picture is prime as well. That's for another show. Let's go to Joseph Navarro here. Would you take Lindor at 110 or 202 if you were already keeping Ellie? Ooh, this is a question about acquiring good players. Power, speed, combination guys with that kind of ceiling don't grow on trees. Both guys are MVP caliber players. I'm not saying I would. It ain't wrong. I'm for it. If Vlad's around there, he's also a pivot. If you want to get a corner guy, I got no problem. If Alvarez is around there, not against that. But if Lindor is the best guy there by a margin, I'm not going to say no. I'm just not going to do it. Joe, would you?
The only thing with those two together is that you're giving up a little bit of the batting average that's available in the first couple rounds that you're not going to be able to replicate a lot of the time. So I would probably lean more to like a Vlad. Lindor is really, really balanced, but I think that the potential for the two of them to hit 250 or 260 combined versus some of the other guys who are a lot more projectable in the batting average category early on, like the Vlads of the world, I think that's probably more where I would lean, but I don't have a big problem with it. Like you're probably getting 50 homers and it could be 100 steals between the two of them. So you're definitely setting yourself up for category goodness, but I just worry about the batting average aspect.
Yeah, make sure you like this video, subscribe. By the way, I know you threw it up there, Seth. Can we throw up the Twitch again too, so I can grab it and star for me so I could show all the kids how to get on the Twitch. The kids love the Twitch. Can't get enough of the Twitch. My daughter, she said to me the other day, guys, you're on Twitch now too? She's like, you're already on TikTok and all these other things. I'm like, yep. Just to embarrass you. That's what I'm here for. I want to play games on there too. Like we should do an MLB The Show. We should hang out and talk crap and talk about players while we're playing video games. I think it's great. Are we thinking
to John? I was going to say, I was talking to John yesterday about your idea for the deGrom Erickson baseball mock draft.
Right? Is he in?
I think we're getting there. We're getting there.
I think it'd be hilarious to watch the football guys just use Draft Wizard and see if they could beat us. I don't know if they can. Speaking of Draft Wizard, hold on, Joe. We'll get to your question in a second. Speaking of Draft Wizard, you looking for the ultimate cheat code? Draft Wizard is it. Make sure you're downloading the app today or go to fantasypros.com/MLB Draft Wizard. Sync your leagues for free. Experience the glory that is Draft Wizard, because if you're running mock drafts, if you're trying to get prepared for all your leagues, it's going to give you insights, recommendations. There's cheat sheets. Everything syncs up. You've seen us do the mock draft shows here on the channel. It is honestly the most incredible tool I've ever seen for drafts. I use it for my drafts. I use it all football season for every single one of mine, and I'm using them for baseball season too. It is so incredible. Don't be a tool. Use the tools. Draft Wizard, download it today and start winning all your leagues and start dominating and embarrassing all your friends and relatives. All right, let's go to Joe's other question here. Are we taking Glasnow this year? He's never healthy. Am I worried about six-man rotation? Yes. Look, the Tyler Glasnow has never come close to throwing 180 innings in the season. It just doesn't happen, and it sucks because he's a good dude. I like him personally. Like, I'm rooting for him. Last year, I was really like, okay, we finally turned the corner, and then I got screwed again on Glasnow. And I don't want to be these people that are like, well, it didn't go well for me, so now I'm out. But at a certain point, what do I get beat over the head about it? Joe, what do you think about Glasnow? I mean, where he's let's bring up his ADP and see if we can sell you on Tyler Glasnow, and I'll bring it up where he is right now. Go ahead, you start.
Based on where I have him ranked, he's not somebody that I'm probably going to be landing on a ton. The skills, if it was like a MLB The Show, we could turn off injuries. Glasnow is a top 5 pitcher, no question. But I think considering the concerns throughout his entire career, granted the last 2 years have been the healthiest seasons he's ever had, which is promising, but he's still dealt with stuff last year. He's now on the wrong side of 30. He's actually in his age 31 season now. And I just don't really want to be spending a really high up draft pick on him. His ADP is in the top 100. I think that it's a big risk. If you're taking guys around him in the first 6 rounds or so that are really, really safe and you want to take a bit of a chance on Glasnow, I kind of get it, but you can't pair him with deGrom or anybody who has even any bit of risk.
Yeah, look, he's like the 29th pitcher, I think, going off the board. Again, that range is, look, if you want to take him there, okay, but you've got to have a plan. You got to make sure that you've got a Scooble or somebody else like that you can depend on. It's got to be somebody you know is going to give you innings. Like if you have Michael King and then Glasnow, I don't know. I don't know how that's going to work out. I love Michael King, but like Dylan Cease, okay, you know, that's how you want to start it. You want to start it with Zach Wheeler and then Glasnow. Okay, that I'm here for. By the way, there it is. Twitch. Go to twitch.tv/fantasypros. Again, twitch.tv/fantasypros. That's how you can get in there. You can subscribe over there, and you can be with us for leading off, because that's where we're going to be this year, and we want you to be with us. Look, Peanuts and Cracker Jacks, we're going to be doing other live streams like this every Wednesday in season, where we just take questions from you guys. But we love having you on leading off. We know how important that show is to you. It's important that you're there for us too. Do you think Rooker gets 10 plus games in the outfield this year to qualify anywhere but utility? That's from Troy. That's an interesting one.
I think I had a lot more confidence before the last week. Mike Kurland, who's lineup tracker extraordinaire, has been keeping track of where people are playing in spring, and he's DHing pretty much every time he's out there in spring, which worries me a little bit. If it's a higher eligibility threshold, some sites are 15 or 20 games, might be pushing it a little bit at this point. I mean, I think he probably does still get there, but it might not be as easy as we would have thought. But injuries will pop up. I think that a lot of sites, it's in season a 5 or 10 game eligibility. He'll probably get there. I think last year he was DHing a lot because of injury related stuff, but I think that he's probably going to get 10 or 15 games at least.
Let's get to Marquee here. What's up, fellas? Dynasty League draft. Charlie Condom?
Condon.
I don't think it's Charlie Condom there, Marquis. Just saying. I think you mean Charlie Condon. But I'm Ron Burgundy, so I'm going to say it out loud. Rumor has it he was hurt in A-ball. Do we trust the talent and work ethic? I wish Welsh was here to answer this question right now. Joe, do you have any thoughts on Charlie Condon?
I'm not sure about the injury. I haven't seen that, but I admittedly am no Welsh. I don't follow the minor leagues like he does. But he's somebody that I think is still kind of interesting. The power is massive. The power potential for him is just absolutely absurd. What he did. We now have college data over on Fangraphs. He hit 37 home runs in 60 games last year with a 433 batting average. Like, it's just absurd. Going to Colorado should definitely help that. I don't think that he's somebody that's going to be playing really this year a ton, though. Not a target for redraft.
Play much, not in redraft, but in Dynasty, I think the question was in Dynasty. Yeah, I mean, but there's better assets to be had. There's a lot better assets right now that ahead of Condon on my list. Look, super chat here from Jay. Second overall pick, 10-man keeper. Pick Bobby Witt being kept at third. Pick number 2, Ohtani, Ramirez, Merrill. Oh, sorry, 10-team. I'm trying to understand this question. Second overall pick, Bobby Witt's being kept in the third. Pick number 2, Ohtani's 1, Ramirez 2, Merrill in the 10th, James Wood in the 10th, Teoscar in the 10th, Ozuna 16.
I'm not sure what the question is.
I guess the question is, who would we take? Jay, I know you super chatted. I want to understand the question. So, Seth, if you could keep an eye, Jay, if you're watching still, make sure you give us a little bit more insight. It's kind of weird. Don't have to pay again for it. I will take it as a continuation of the question, but I don't understand if the second overall pick, are you asking us to pick between Ohtani and Ramirez? I got to understand what's going on there. If it's Ohtani all day, always, but I'm just confused. I'm not the only one. Or are you confused?
No, I'm confused. I wasn't sure if these are keeper rounds or if these are dollar values to keep at. Give us a little bit more and we'll help you out there.
Yeah. By the way, Condon just hit $180 last year. So, I mean, I'm not rushing here, even in dynasty leagues, like whatever. It depends how deep the league is, but I'm probably not going to pay attention to him much. Troy here, 12 team head-to-head cats. I've got pick 11 and 14, 2 of Betts, Lindor, Alvarez, Vlad, and Julio. So I have pick 11 and 14. I think let's talk about the rank here. So let's rank them here. Betts, Lindor, Alvarez, Vlad, and Julio. I think that's my ranking, to be honest.
Yeah, I think that's about how I'd have them too. I actually had pick 11 in a draft that started Monday on TGFBI, and I took Mookie Betts.
I'm still waiting for my Razzball draft to get to me. I'm like pick 6 and it still hasn't gotten to me. And it's not a good sign. Not a good sign. Good.
You're doing the Raz Slam?
Yeah, in the Raz Slam. Yeah. So here we go. If anything, maybe you can argue Vlad over Alvarez this year, just playing for the contract with all that help. But I think that's the order, Troy. Good luck, man. Let's get to the next one here, which is Jay's second. Oh, this is Jay's thing.
So he said he had another comment. He said those are rounds.
Those numbers are the rounds in the super. Okay, so those are the rounds that can be kept, so we can keep how many of them. Again, I don't understand. It says second overall pick, 10-man keeper. What are we doing here? If those are the rounds we're keeping, and this I'm just trying to understand here. Ohtani in the first round, he's still the best player. I'm still keeping him. and Ramirez in the second, I'd be keeping him. That's it. Like, sorry, if my first 2 picks of first round and second round are Ohtani and Ramirez, I'm keeping those guys.
Yeah, I just worry if we're misinterpreting. But Jay, keep letting us know more details. How many keepers and the works.
Thanks, Pistol. Pistol's always positive. Every day, Pistol goes in and says, "Thank you for your shows, Pistol. You're the best." You know,
Pistol's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, just amazing. Just every day, just saying something nice, just being appreciative. It's a beautiful thing. Jim, Bregman or Framber Valdez is the final keeper in a 10-team dynasty. I think pitching is more important. I'm going to go with Framber.
Yeah, I think it's Framber. Just on a pure value standpoint, I think it's Framber. It might depend on who the other keepers are and such, but in a vacuum, it's Framber for me as well.
I love doing things in a vacuum. It's the best place. Tom, points league here. Do I keep Duran for 12 or Tatis for 28? Ooh.
Probably take the value.
I think you take the value here. Yeah. I mean, Tatis for 28 is not terrible, but Duran for 12 is too good to pass up.
Yeah. There's a difference of like 7 or 8.
Welsh now.
There's like a difference of 7 or 8 picks in most rooms. Well, Tatis is at the end of the first, Duran's beginning of the second. Tatis has higher upside, but the floor with Duran is very safe. Justin Mason has been talking me into Duran, and check out the show.
That was our guy last year on the show. You know, you were around. How many shows did I yell and scream about Duran? Duran, and look, he's Duran. He was hungry like the wolf in 2024, and hopefully in 2025. Trying to think of another Duran saga. You know, it's not an ordinary world for Jarren Duran and the Red Sox. I did it, Joe. How proud / embarrassed are you to be with me? Arthur here. I think I made a mistake in my league. Here we go. Drafted Gunnar, Seager, Rooker. What do I do with the utility spot? Do I trade Seager?
Rooker's the only utility only, and there are some sites where Rooker has. I think, like if it's Yahoo, I think Rooker has outfield. I would just put Rooker in the utility spot.
Maybe he's saying that his league is only going to let Seager and Gunnar play short. Is that it? So he's got to move one of them over?
Maybe that's what it is. Then, yeah, maybe there's no middle infield.
Look, Seager would be the odd man out because you can get the most for Seager. That's how I look at it.
I think you get the most for Gunnar.
Well, let me rephrase. You can get the most for Seager without having to move Gunnar. That was the full thought in my head. I don't want to keep Gunnar, but I think you'll get more for Seager than you will for Rooker. I apologize.
Yes.
Arthur's first time playing fantasy. Welcome, Arthur. Welcome to the channel. By the way, if you're enjoying things, like, subscribe right now. Like the stream. It's very easy. Just click on that little thumb. Pistol likes everything every day. We love Pistol. Go ahead, like the stream. That's all you got to do. It's a very nice way. Just giving us a thumbs up and say we appreciate you being here. And we appreciate all you being here. So we did that one. It's his first league. Look, first league, I don't think it's a giant mistake as long as you can, again, work around. And if you have to trade him, you traded Seager and see what he brings back. I imagine he'll bring back a fair amount. Mr. G Unit, who would you rather have in a keeper? Luis Garcia for a 12th rounder or Maikel Garcia for a 20th?
Luis Garcia. Garcia is a nice. Maikel Garcia is a nice value, but Luis Garcia, we are both pretty interested in him this year, Joe. I think. Yep,
that's the guy I won't shut up about this year. I just don't get it. Like, he's Altuve 75 picked later. Why not take him? And I think the Nats are going to be really plucky. I really do. Yeah. The Nats and the Athletics. Those are my two plucky, annoying teams this year. Cody. 5x5 head-to-head Cats 10-team keeper league. Do I go after the best available in the second round? Alonso, Riley, Machado, Burns, or grab Acuna in hopes to keep him next season? Yes, it's the second one. I'd love to go after Acuna. If he doesn't make it to you, who would be your consolation prize here? Who would you want? Alonso in the contract, kind of again. Riley, Machado, Burns.
Machado, I think, is the safer option. Among the 3 bats there, he's the only one who's going to give you some speed. He also hits for a good average. The lineup is still good around him.
I might take Burns, to be honest, if Acuna doesn't get there.
Burns is also in contention. He's talked a lot about how his strikeout rate wasn't quite what it was the previous couple of years, but that was almost by design. So he can probably get back up there. It's probably between Machado and Burns, depending on the rest of your team.
All right, let's try to get through as many as we can here in the last 10 minutes. So let's start flowing. Coconut Head. Does Bregman get into the 70s, 80s range around Santander? Christian Walker, if he gets second base eligibility. The Joes are the best. Yes, that's right. Take that, Welsh. Take that with your NyQuil. If he gets, he's going to get second base eligibility. That's going to happen, I think, regardless. But I do believe eventually he will play more games. I think eventually the Devers things does change. I would still take Santander over Bregman regardless. Christian Walker, that's more of a conversation. What do you think? Because of position flexibility.
That's fair. Yeah. I think Bregman's probably somewhere around the 90s or so. Walker being my favorite of the bunch, though. Walker, I'm really into Christian Walker. I think he's essentially Olsen and Alonso several rounds later in terms of the player type, and I've been taking that discount a lot.
All right, Brandon's question here. Keep 2, Seiya Suzuki, Taj Bradley, Kumar Rocker. It's Suzuki and Bradley. I'm not keeping Rocker. I'm sorry. Just not enough innings, not ready. Unless they make him a closer, which again is what I say they got to do. Who are some target SPs to get 20+ round with high Ks? So KG's question here. Joe Rico, who are some of your late pitchers for strikeouts that we're looking for? Tanner Houck is at 212. Mackenzie Gore's at 216. Brandon Woodruff at 219. That's another name too. If he bounces back, could be a big strikeout guy.
Yeah, we've talked about DJ Herz. I think just in terms of playing strikeouts, he's a good option. David Festa, I'm not sure if he's going to start the season in the rotation. I think
he won't.
Probably won't start the year in the rotation, but he'll get there. And I think the strikeouts are pretty secure with David Festa as well. Bubba Chandler is another one where we've mentioned him earlier in the stream. I'm not sure when he's going to be up exactly, but he already has one of the best fastballs of anybody.
Well, don't forget Gavin Williams is post 200 too. Jesus Luzardo post 200. There's actually a lot of guys you can find, KG, around there. Second base is weak position. Should I take Bregman, hoping he gets second base eligibility, or target McLean? I like McLean because he's even cheaper than Simeon, to tell you the truth. Let's go to Kevin's question here. What type of money ratio do you allocate for pitchers, hitters, and a salary cap? This is a great question. I think people get way too tied up on this plan of, I'm going to spend half of my budget on this, and I'm going to spend this much money on this guy. And if I can't get salary cap drafts, never go the way you think they're going to. They're always bananas. They're always snowflakes. They're always unique. What you do is have your range of what you want to spend on a player. If you love a player, spend to get him. Okay. If Caminero is going for, I don't know, $28 or whatever, I'm just throwing a number out there. Right. And if it takes you 35 to get him, if you really believe in him, then do it. Because the one thing you're going to do is hate yourself for the rest of the season if you don't do it. You will find guys off the waiver wire. You'll figure it out. The salary cap draft is to get talent, just like every other draft. And then what you do is you have pivot points. I like this player. If I really can't get this player, I like player B and player C also as good, consolation prizes will give you 80% of the same stats. That's the best thing I can tell you there, Kev. All right, let's get to Christopher. Do you think the park change for Josh Lowe will result in substantial increase in home runs? Okay, so we talked about the Athletics ballpark. Let's talk about this ballpark change.
So this is Yankee Stadium. This is literally the dimensions of Yankee Stadium, but it's in warm weather, which should make this a hitter's paradise. Josh Lowe has been a big target of mine all draft season. He dealt with a ton of injuries last year. He injured, I think, 4 different parts of his body. It wasn't like the same muscle kept getting injured or something like that. I think Josh Lowe is one of the better values of anybody getting drafted this season. The barrel rate last year was still above 10%, good hard hit rate. I think that he could be a 25 homer, 40 stolen base guy pretty easily this year.
Andrew question, Crochet or Logan Gilbert? I'm going Logan Gilbert still. I love Crochet. It's very exciting, but I'll take a little bit of the safety net with Gilbert. What do you think?
I'm on the Crochet side, but I have a difference in my rankings of I think they're back to back, or it's 4 and 6. Crochet 4 and Gilbert at 6, but that's more for standard 5-5. The quality starts might give the edge to Gilbert because you're never sure with the usage of Crochet after last year, but I think it's essentially a coin toss.
All right. Remember, like the stream, everybody, if you're hanging out with us. The Big Dance got offered Schwarber and Reagans for Ozzie and Maikel Harris. 10-team Rota. What side do you want to be on?
I think in terms of pure value, it's pretty close. I'm probably
kind of like the all-purpose Braves guys. I got to be honest with you.
That's fair. I think there's.
And I don't like Maikel Harris.
I know. I think I'm personally on the Reagan side. You lock down an ace and you lock down somebody who can get you 40+ homers. In a 10-teamer, I think that the batting average thing doesn't worry me as much. I play in a lot of deeper leagues where batting average is gone as soon as the draft starts. But in a 10-team league, you can still kind of get it in the 3rd, 4th rounds. I think I'm personally on the Schwarber side.
If you need pitching, I'm fine with it. It's fair. TJ, what rounds are you guys looking for RPs? You know me, as late as possible. So that's my answer for that one. Christian, late round SPs. I'm going with that Romano, Fairbanks, Ben Joyce grouping. I'm dumpster diving for relievers because that's what I do, because then my team looks awesome and then saves are saves. Christian Hernandez, late round SP. Unless you're playing in a league where RP saves are worth a ton or something like that, then you act accordingly. Here we go. Taj, Lodolo, or Gore. Which order are you taking them?
Probably Lodolo, Taj, Gore, but I think
Agreed.
Lodolo, Taj are fairly close.
I agree with that order. All right, next is let's go to Cheapskate. I have Riley and Harper as keepers. Wondering if you consider Bregman in the 70s, 80s, and Santander Walker if he gets a second base eligible. No. Would I take him over Riley and Harper? No, not even close. Not even the same universe yet. All right, let's go to Edmund. I'm in a 10-team points league. Already have Ellie, Gunner, Tatis, J-Rod, and Framber. Acuna is still on the clock. Do I take him or yes? Just do it. I don't care. Pitching will find itself. You'll stream. Take Acuna. That's an impact guy. Angelo, 10-team roto. Is it smart to wait until round 5 for the first SP? Again, I don't like saying rounds because you got to be paying attention to what's happening in the draft, right? Because if there's huge runs, it might get away from you. I'm very comfortable with going into, I would say, if my aces, I told Blake Snell, guys like that, I'm good with that. That's about in that range here. He's like player 46 off the board. Like that's close. I'm good with Pablo Lopez. I'm good with doubling up on pitching around that range. And I really like that range we were talking about before. The 30 to 40 range is loaded. So I would just load up on those guys. Let's get to another question here. Sam traded Judge for Skeens, Trey Turner, and Ozuna, 10-team. Is that a W or an L? I love when they ask us after. That's always my favorite. Joe, how'd they do?
I think he did pretty well. Judge, I think, is fantastic. Like he could be number 1 overall in a points league, hypothetically, considering it depends. Every points league scores differently, so it's kind of hard. There's no standard. But I think you did incredibly well. Like that's a great haul.
Yeah, it's a really good haul. You got an ace, you got a good roto player, you got some power. Matt's question: standard 12-team head-to-head cats. I keep 3 of the following: Jaron Duran, 14, Lindor in the second, Acuna in the first, Schwellenbach undrafted, and then Class A. So Schwellenbach in the last round is really interesting. Gosh, that's hard to say no to.
Yeah.
Who are the 2 you're keeping here? Oh, three. Sorry. So Schwellenbach is one of them.
Yeah, I couldn't keep Acuna in the first. I think that's, I mean, you could, but I think it's a little bit out of my personal range a little bit.
You could just redraft him. I think Lindor, Duran, Schwellenbach is where I'd go.
Yeah, Acuna, he's not going to be drafted in the first. I think that's the smart play.
All right, let's go to Joshua. Who are the later SPs to target for ERA or WHIP looking at later? Ironically, some of those guys that we talked about, if they're good strikeout pitchers, they're going to be Spencer Arrigetti's really interesting later. No, we disagree about Francis. Looking for ERA specifically, that's going to be a little trickier. The later guys are more your strikeout artist guys, and that's why they're later, because they're a little bit tougher to gauge. So you're not going to get a lot of whip ERA help, I think, down there. Thank you, Scott. Appreciate you. Again, like the stream, everybody. Make sure you subscribe to the channel as well. We want all the subscribers. So it's first time joining us, subscribe to the channel because we are wall-to-wall baseball here. Thoughts on Albies and Neto for the whole season? I love Ozzie Albies this year. A guy, 30, 100, 100 player with stolen bases. I mean, Jesus. How do you not like Ozzie Albies on the bounce back? Neto, what are your thoughts on him?
I'm a little bit worried about when he's going to come back. The Angels have been very quiet about what the procedure actually was. I've heard I was scouring Twitter for beat writers from the Angels to see if there was anything. There was nothing. So we're not really sure exactly what the procedure was, which makes it a little bit dicey to really project what he's going to look like when he comes back. Albies is much safer, but Neto's a good value where he's going at the same time as a stash.
All right, last couple here. Well, we got a super chat at the end. We'll get to Phil. We'll jump to him. 10-team Yahoo keeper. Gunner and Turner choose 3 more. Schwarber, Alonso, Seager, O'Neill, Cruz, Rooker, Adames. Only 1 utility spot. Too many shortstops. Well, you got good ones. So Gunner and Turner already. So you got 3 more to pick from. Who are you picking here, Joey?
I think O'Neill, Cruz. Well, I can't take too many shortstops, I guess. Does that mean if you have Gunner?
Well, Cruz is going to qualify in the outfield sooner than later, so that's not a problem.
Yeah.
So we could take Cruz. We could take Cruz.
Seager and Alonso. Does that sound about right? Cruz, Seager, and Alonso.
Cruz, Seager, and Alonso. So, well, again, that's more shortstop issues, right? You got Turner and Gunner. Now you're really in a spot. I would keep. See, I love Rooker. Power's hard to find. I love Rooker. I love Alonso. I think you take those 2 power guys because they're not going to kill your batting average like Schwarber will. And then I would take Cruz.
Seeker.
Those are the 3 that I would keep. Yeah, and then you got not too much of a problem there. Let's go to Jason's question, and then we'll wrap things up here. Overpaid for Wyatt Langford. This is a great question. Now I can keep him for 21. Is it worth it, or I toss him back? Do you think you get a return of that $21 Wyatt Langford, or you toss him back and hope Did you maybe get him for the same or cheaper in 2025? It's a great
I don't
question.
I don't think you're getting him much cheaper. His average auction value this year has been 25. That's 15 team leagues. It might vary a little bit, but I think that you're sending him back. He's going for at least that much. The oblique worries me a bit, but
Yeah.
I think I'm keeping him at that price.
I'm on the fence. It depends on who your other keepers are, but I probably would lean towards keeping him because I like Langford too. EA, last one, keep one. Sale Reagan, same cost. Who do you have?
For me, it's Reagan's, the younger guy without so many injury issues. He has had the Tommy John, but Sale at his age, you just never know.
Fair enough. The younger guy always wins. That's how Joe Orrico got here because Welsh is old and sick. There you go. All right. We appreciate everybody. Make sure you like the stream. Also, don't forget, join us for Fantasy Fest next Wednesday. It's all going down. That's where it is happening right here on the YouTube channel. Be here. Subscribe to the channel. 3 p.m. Eastern. 4 hours. We've got amazing guests. We've got Chris Towers, Frank Stanfield, Eric Cross, Scott Pianowski, the best minds in fantasy baseball, and me. Somehow we all made it here together. So join us for the fest. Subscribe to the channel. Ring the bell till it goes ding so you don't forget, because old people like me, we forget things and we got to be reminded by our phone. That's the beauty of technology. We want you to be here for the Fantasy Fest, though. So again, subscribe to the channel. Also, don't forget, use the tools. Go right now, wherever you get your apps, get Draft Wizard, sync your leagues for free. You could set your lineups from different leagues just by using the My Playbook app, Draft Wizard app, all these amazing tools that we have. Use the tools, help you sync, get all the recommendations, get all the pick predictions, get all the tools you need to dominate all your drafts. Again, it's free. It syncs to your league. You can run mock draft simulations. You can undo picks, do it again. You've seen us use it. And we just did a mock draft yesterday. It's up on the channel. So you can go watch it right after this if you need more baseball, since we're going away, because it's time for us to go away. Great job by our producer, Seth, as always here. And great job by all of you hanging out here. We want to get to 25,000 subs. Subscribe. We want to get there by opening day. That's my goal. And we can do it with your help. Also, twitch.tv/fantasypros. Join that so you can be part of leading off live. So many things to join, Joe. We're joiners here. It's a community at FantasyPros MLB. Thanks everybody for hanging out with us live. Don't worry, Welsh will be better. And check out me and Joe Orrico next, actually not even next, this coming Friday. What time is it? Noon? We're going to be on Twitch? I think it's noon.
Let me see.
Noon at 2 o'clock. Joe, you're supposed to know these things. This is
I know. This is why they
it
keep
is
me
noon.
around.
I got it already. My technology is fast. Noon, Twitch. Join us. Hang out with us there. It's just like this, except it's different. But there you go. Again, like the stream on the way out. That'll do it for us. But the story of the game goes on. For Joe Orrico, I'm Joey P. We'll see you next time, kids. Wyatt Langford, $21. That is a pickle. That is a pickle. Right on the border, Joe.
I like it. I like it. I don't know.